Hey guys, welcome to the Dorian podcast. I'm here with Miss Mellon.
Hi, Dorian.
And we're going to be talking about the amazing adventures of Kavalier and Clay, specifically very early on into the book. So if you're afraid of spoilers, don't worry here. We're just talking about Joseph's adventure to America. So without any further ado, let's get started. I feel like the first thing I really want to talk about is Kornblum. He's the most instrumental character from when Joseph gets rejected on the train to meeting him and everything previously in Joseph's life, where it was he's gonna meet this guy and that's the first place he'd go, because even though he wasn't allowed to learn magic with him after the entire river incident, he still trusts him so much and it leads him on that entire adventure. What do you think about Kornblum and his character?
I think Kornblum's interesting, but I think you've got to really set the stage first, that this is in Prague, back during World War II.
Mm-hmm.
So, Kornblum being this, he's this magician, but really he seems kind of like a scammer way back because he could pick locks and you could tell that some of his activities might not have been totally on the up and up in the way it's kind of described, but that everybody knows him, that he's kind of the go-to guy.
Mm-hmm.
So just like when it comes time to get this golem out of Prague, and for those who don't know the golem, I mean, we're not talking about Golem from, Lord of the Rings. It's more like Golem is a giant mud man from the Bible, from Hebrew mythology, so that's what he was. So now you got this golem hidden away that nobody even knows where it is anymore, but Kornblum can find it.
That's very true, yeah.
He's the guy who can manage to find it and get through it. So I don't know. He was kind of really cool. And Joseph is one of those characters, he's a young teen. He's this guy's teaching him how to be an escape artist. He wants to be like the next Houdini. And then early on, it's that whole thing, that scene at the river where he decides he's going to go pull his Houdini act. It was interesting to me rereading this book from the last time that I read it, because I've been to Prague since then. So the details where they were talking about being on the Charles Bridge and all that, I can see that now because I've been there, and it's very accurate as far as what he's doing. But the river being so cold, and he has his brother. First off, your poor little brother.
I feel Thomas was the most human character in the story. It was Thomas was very I could relate to everything that he'd do. I'd get scared if I was in that situation too. And when he came back to his home that he got kicked out of, that was definitely really interesting.
Yeah. Well, I mean, to ask your little brother to tie you up in a sack, chain you up first, and then put a sack over you and tie the top of the sack, and then push you into this river, this freezing cold river. It's 22 degrees in this river, right? You're going to land in this thing, and you can't even be in there because you're going to freeze to death before you can even escape.
Yeah.
And to have him do that, and then the poor kid just freaking out because now he's killed his brother. And he tries to save him. That was so sweet. He tries to save him and almost drowns in the process.
I found something so interesting about you have this golem that's the holy most sacred deity in their entire town, their Jewish mythology thing, and it was being protected by these prostitutes who would be the most unholy people. And I found that just that contradiction, you have these very dirty people who society would consider terrible people. If you just look and know that she's a prostitute, she's a terrible person, guarding this insanely religious artifacts.
Actually, I did a little research on this too. There is a golem of Prague. So this is all that time period. They were worried about the golem, had to get the golem out of Prague to safety, right? So they moved him, but he had been moved at some point in time previously with the hookers, So because you're not going to look for the golem with the hookers, right?
Yeah, they're not going to go to those ghetto towns where they have everyone I do the historical aspects. I know you're big on Holocaust. I remember we read the Mouse, and I feel everything going to a Jewish school for 8 years, those conditions were so terrible. And I understand why the Germans would not want to look in those really cramped houses. You have these rooms where you have 8 people living on one bed and stuff, and they're forcing them there. And I also like that because all this stuff when they're moving, when the Kavaliers have to move and they get rid of Joseph, they try to send him to America, and you have Thomas and all these guys moving to these conditions, and it's so horrible when you think about it. And then I also remember you talking about like the golem coming to life. I love the aspect of the coffin. I feel like I love like not even with the golem, but more like Joseph when he gets put into the coffin to escape. It's like he's being reborn in America.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think that was one of the best parts of the story when he got into the coffin. And of course he goes in and the German people, that's when I was really hooked. Like the Germans knocking on it. Like that's something that's so like you're not going to see this like expensive suit that Joseph stole from his father like at any time. Like this is something that's rare. This, of course he's going to want to take it. And the realism of that, like something like the corruption in that, like you should not be touching someone's dead body because of course they thought it was just a dead person. It's like grossly true. And I love the entire aspect. Like it's so much better when a book has like humane characters and like very realistic things. What do you think about that kind of stuff?
I think the key, and it's it won a Pulitzer Prize. So I got on this kick to win all the Pulitzer Prizes to understand what it takes to win a Pulitzer. And what I found is it is about the relationships, like the characters and their relationships with each other. We just see the beginning of this with these as you go through the books, and I don't want to give everything away, but like he gets to America and he is reborn.
And it's like, you can already tell like how the characters, when you're talking about like these Pulitzer Prize winning books, the characters interacting with each other and the development that he gets, like that's like those two experiences that Joseph had with Thomas in the river and then seeing him when he's leaving Prague again for the last time. It's like, those are not events that you can just go through and then your mind just be the same. Like those are like life-changing events. Now he's going to have to really understand to use those in the comic book industry. I got up to the part where he's talking with Ethel about really like earning money and stuff like that, and I cannot wait to see where it goes. So I'm going to wrap this up now. And thank you, Miss Mellon. If you guys want to check out this book, of course, you can go to the library or you can look up online The Amazing Adventures of Kavalier and Clay. Thank you guys for all tuning in. I'll see you guys later.